Go right under the table.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We should get a microphone.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Someday.
One thing I want to update you guys on is where we're at, like permit-wise. Last year at this time, year to date, we had 51 permit applications. This year to date, we have 5. Site development plans, last year we had approximately 10. This year we have 3 to date. Other than that, still working with Gordon Trucking on the Stewart Road issue. Basically have a handshake agreement on things. We're waiting to get a letter from their attorney to finalize things there. And that's about it for now.
Question?
I don't know who this falls under actually to be able to, but it's been brought to my attention there's a few medical marijuana dispensaries in town.
There's one that I know of.
I heard that there's one going in right next door to, I'm guessing the same one you're aware of.
Really?
So do we know, I thought we passed something that said those weren't allowed unless it was just the collective gardening.
We have a moratorium, I'm sorry.
No way.
We have a moratorium in place. The one that got in a lapse of our moratorium. And I believe, and Ken can probably address this better because I don't think we're being sued, but we're in litigation on that whole matter with them.
And then the other question would be, I guess for Betty, is do we know if there's a business license involved with that? Did we issue a business license for it?
We have not issued any business license for any medical marijuana or any collective gardening. The one that's in place is claiming that they're not required to have them because they're a nonprofit organization.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
I have a question on the permit and the difference between 51 last year and 5 this year. I know that there was probably difficult to speculate as to why.
No, pretty easy.
Oh, go ahead.
We don't have the lots. We just don't have the lots for building. They're just not available. Last year, Beaver Meadows was being built out. That's why we had 51 last year. This year, I have builders coming in begging for lots. There's just no lots to be found in town. There is a few parcels. We do have Yates Flat down here, which has just got their site development plan into us for review. So they're going to be moving forward, but they're going to be doing their own building, which is fine. There's a few in town that, like, was it Megan's Court, and there's one other one up on Skinner Road. But that's, as far as large parcels of land that have been developed, that's it. And then we're just down to one lot here and one lot there. And people that, if we don't get builders to come in, right now, the city is kind of nobody wants to do anything, really. But the lots that are available are being bought.
Okay. So I know that we had, and maybe Josh, this is part of what you're going to ask anyway. I know that we had anticipated a certain number of certain revenue figures on permit.
Right.
Is that an issue that we need to be worried about now?
We're probably about $10,000 behind where we should be at this point for what we've anticipated for revenue on permits.
Is that the finance committee aware of, or there now?
No, we've been waiting for various other issues to get resolved so that we can get on with this year, since last year is still having issues.
And this week, the end of this week, Wanda and I are going to be working on exact numbers as to where we are as far as how short we are as compared to last year and previous years.
And that'll have a big new construction impact on property taxes next year.
Yeah.
Okay. John?
And then 2 other questions on that. One, it's been a while. I cannot remember if we got one last year, an update on the buildable land inventory for the city. Do you know?
We're in the process of
Okay.
working on that, yeah.
And then, do you have any stats on code enforcement cases versus last year?
I don't yet, but I will get you those. I'm sure they're up from last year because somebody's actually doing something.
So that reminded me, as far as buildable land, I'm curious that commercial metals closed their doors.
I just heard something I heard a rumor about that today, but I had not heard anything about that prior.
One more question from me. At the last meeting we had a conversation about the sewer pipes and there was going to be some communication with the homeowners there?
Yes. I haven't actually, I'm getting together with the homeowners this week. We're getting the engineer to go out, and we're gonna run a camera down it again with our city engineer there, and actually look. City engineer, all we had was some still shots off a cell phone. So when he looked at that, he said what the plumber thought was a crack, and we're gonna review this in place, but what the plumber thought was a crack was actually a seam in the pipe where the pipe came in, and it could look like a crack to an untrained eye.
So you're on something?
Yeah.
Related question on that, even if it is a seam, is it a seam that something could be hanging up on?
No.
No?
Nothing that would do, not in a 6-inch pipe that would do what they're claiming, the problem is there, it's the dips in the pipe.
Yeah.
They're causing the problem, so, yes.
Okay.
Who's our city engineer?
AHBL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
We use either AHBL or parametrics, but primarily we use AHBL.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Community Senior Youth Services. Anybody hear anything from the chair?
She's meeting with the intern tonight.
We haven't had a meeting.
All right. City Council?
I have one question. This is for Betty. Can you update us the status on Massey's payroll issue?
Lieutenant Massey came into the finance office last week. The end of that last week and asked. The finance department has not gotten anything in writing yet. We are going to pursue that as soon as the city administrator, the mayor, returns on Thursday. Hopefully to have that resolved before the next payroll. There are more than just, there's a lot of issues involved in that because it's not just the overtime, which we understand, and that's the easy part. There's also vacations that were taken and things that were not acknowledged because our paperwork said administrative leave. I explained all that to him and he was satisfied, at least that's what he appeared to be to me. So we do need to make sure everything is well documented. We can't just be messing with stuff and making changes without it all being documented, all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, or the auditor will have our head.
Okay, now, he was paid for the vacation days, so.
He was paid for all of the time except for the overtime.
Overtime, yeah, that's what I understand. He was paid
He was
for
fully paid.
the classes and everything else.
So those changes need to be made, but it's a bunch of adjustments in payroll.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Other, Councilor Putnam?
We had a brief meeting of the committee that's looking into contingencies regarding the pending recall election. And there's a lot of research going on various issues still. One point I did want to bring up as a reminder, things are going to probably get fairly tense in the next few weeks. Ballots are being mailed out in June, early June. And just a reminder, this applies to all city employees, those of us here at the dais, those of us who are not here at the dais, every city employee. You're not allowed to use city resources or the power of any city office to campaign for or against any ballot issue. That includes the recall. So just a reminder to everyone that when we discuss any issue here related to the recall, we can discuss factual matters. We can discuss contingency planning regardless of contingencies for if it passes, contingencies for if it fails. But no one is allowed to use city office in any way to campaign for or against the recall. And we wanted to make sure that's extra clear because there is liability involved.
Okay.
Just as a point of information, I got a call from King County Auditor's Office last week, and they wanted to know who the contact person was at City Hall for questions regarding that ballot issue for the special election. And I let them know nobody at City Hall could speak one way or the other. and tried to explain it to her, at which point she put me on hold, went back to her supervisor, and came back and said, yeah, I guess it wasn't such a good idea for us to call you.
Good answer.
Everybody's learning.
Yeah, if these don't happen all that often, it is a learning experience, so.
Anything else? Other council reports?
I was
Councilor
going
Jones?
to say that, the committee for the, council member,
Council manager.
Manager, yeah, sorry. Met last Wednesday, we plan on meeting again this coming Wednesday, 6:30? 6:30. Yes, tomorrow. It is next Wednesday.
Okay. What day is it today? Did you answer? Councilor Guy?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that there will be a memorial, kind of a celebration of Walter's life Saturday out in the big park at 1 o'clock. So if you remember, young Walter was killed last year in his apartment building. So there will be a memorial at City Park at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Little celebration.
It's been a year already.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, committee boards, park board. Don't see anybody here tonight.